Good morning, my neighbors. I hope you guys are good. Welcome to another episode of the Dark Light Podcast. What is it, episode 11? I'm not sure. I've been on hiatus. I've been gone for a minute. Yeah, so I'm back. I've been studying. I've been reading. So I guess let me just so much has changed about me, about my life. I mean, I still love Jesus. That hasn't changed. Um but so much has changed, so like I'm guessing it's about to be season 2 of the Dark Light podcast, probably. Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, this is gonna be the first episode of season 2. Hey, it's crazy because I've been studying. Like I said, I've been studying some things, and so I know some new information now. And my laptop is acting crazy. Give me a minute. All right, so yeah, I'm back. Had to sort out a few things with my laptop. That's crazy. So anyway, like I said, I've been studying. I've been studying the books that aren't included in the Bible. Yeah, that's what's been consuming my time. Um, because the Bible, in and of itself, it's always been a curious book. You know, I've always just had so many questions reading it. You know. And then finding out that there's this information out there that wasn't included in the Bible, I was curious. And yeah, so I gave myself to that. I mean, I'm still studying it, but like in acquiring that knowledge, I realized um, even the nature of the nature of the conversation about God I'd want to have is changing. Yeah, it's changing because of that information. So it's like I can't pretend I don't know it anymore, type of thing. Yeah, so because also what I did, so basically I use the Bible to filter all the information that I consume. Uh, yeah, like everything. Like even when I watch a movie, like my focus is never too far from the Bible. So I'm always ready to pick out something that maybe was mentioned in the Bible or something like that. Um, so that's also what I do with this information that wasn't included. So it's actually been an interesting process. Um, I found so I haven't been reading. I've been listening to like the audiobooks on YouTube. Yeah, because yeah, that's actually very convenient. It's very convenient. So sitting and listening, I can do that. So yeah, that's what I've been doing for the most part. And I found this one compilation. It's called the Forbidden Gospels, the ones that weren't included in the New Testament. They have so much interesting information, and I think I forgot who put them together. Um, the preface, that place at the part, the person in explaining why they compiled, why they published those gospels. Um, they basically said they found fault in the people who compiled the Bible. They said because isn't it basically the Bible is what the people who compiled the Bible agreed were inspired books, like inspired by God, by the Spirit, right? So That's what they agreed, and then that's what they put together, you know? And so this person was like, okay, because there's, looks like there's like many other texts that weren't included, you know. So he was he was like, okay, so what did you guys do with the ones that were left, the ones that you didn't include, you know? Because it's like those were just shut off and like closed off from the community, and only a select few had access to that information, you know. So this guy was like, he wanted everyone to have all the information so that everyone can independently seek out their own salvation while having all the information, you know. Because basically, when you really think about it, salvation is an individual responsibility, you know. And the individual won't be able to respond uh, in the best way if they don't have all the information, you know. Yeah, so like this these yeah, so there's a lot of information out there that isn't included in the Bible, but that it's like, and it takes nothing away, it's like it just adds details to the story, you know. It puts so many things into perspective. You realize that maybe something in the gospels, when that was, when you know that portion, you realize so much more maybe was happening during, you know, you realize why certain words were said, you know, that kind of thing. So it's very interesting. And there's also there's a couple of accounts of, you know, Jesus as a kid, as a child. That was his birth, like details about his birth. He pretty much he pretty much delivered himself. Yeah. You know. Yeah, he came out in a burst of light. It was so cool. You know, like these are interesting stories, you know? And then and then there's and then there's stuff about angels. There's stuff about the spirit world, you know? It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Cuz like reality is so now based on that information, you know, like just if you take, before we even get to, you know, what's not included in the Bible, if you just take the Bible at its word, right? And just like be like, boom, just what it suggests about reality. Okay? It tells you that yo, reality is way bigger. It's like bigger than your perception, you know? It's not what you think. Trust me, you know? Um so cuz I remember my in my Christian journey, I've always been open-minded, I think. Let me see. Let me see. Do I want to say it like that? Okay, I've tried to be honest with myself. Yeah, I've always tried to be honest with myself. I love sci-fi. Uh, I love science. I love science, man. And I love to learn about, you know, the universe. I love physics, chemistry. You know, I just love to know, to learn about, you know, reality and stuff. And there was a time when I used to struggle when it seemed like science rejected God. That was very hard for me. It was hard for me, you know? It's like, cause science was so cool, you know? Um, but then I was like, God, if you're real, Because a lot of things about science I can tell are real. Like I can verify for myself. So if you're real, science shouldn't disprove you. You know what I mean? So it was like cool. So so I was always curious about spiritual stuff while aware like while aware that there's, natural principles and stuff like that. So to me it was always like, okay, this reality must be one side of a mirror. And then the other side of that mirror, there has to be a setup that's like maybe I'm guessing slightly more complex to say the least, you know, than this one that's on this side, um, and then so it's always been I'm taking. So basically, I've treated the Bible as a textbook, as an exalted textbook. So like, cause I'm not discarding all the other textbooks that I've found in life, but I'm just saying the Bible must be the grand textbook of all these textbooks, or it must be the door into the grand textbook of all these textbooks, you know? So, anyway, the things I'm finding on the other side of the mirror, as I'm reading about the spirit and stuff, I'm finding it's exactly, it helps my knowledge of this reality. It really does. It makes life, it's very convenient. Yeah, that information is very convenient. Very convenient. Especially in doing things pertaining to the spirit, Because, first of all, the more you know, the more you come to know, the bigger your universe becomes. Your your universe is as big as the things you know. Yeah. So even in your Christianity, if Christianity is like a sphere, a universe a sphere of your influence or something, it's as big as what you know about it. And it can influence as much as you know it can influence. Basically, I remember I was talking to a friend once, and then I was like, I was thinking about authority, how I'm coming to understand it, and I realized, you can't walk on water if you don't have the authority to walk on water. Yeah, like for the water to sustain you, to keep you up, the water has to know who you are. Because if you pay attention to the way Jesus said some of these things, like this reality, it's kind of like everything's alive, everything listens, everything obeys, everything behaves. And so everything can act, not everything has a level of acknowledgement of everything else. So it's like, if I am superior, the inferior must acknowledge my superiority, pretty much. So now I'm guessing at an atomic level, matter understands this principle. Okay? Because this is the reality that God created. So if we're going to look at something like Jesus walking on water, a person walking on water, I think what makes these things unbelievable is we try to remove them from reality. And then we say that's like the illusion of what an anomaly is, I think. The illusion of what an anomaly is it something that you believe shouldn't be possible, shouldn't be happening. And so it's just, so that's where it's like, whatever. But I think the way Jesus presented, the teachings of, authority and stuff and miracles, it's like it's just a matter of fact. You know, it's just how it is. Because even when he says, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, be removed and be thrown into the thingy, into the ocean. It will obey you. See, nothing crazy is going on. It's just you're just speaking and it's listening and obeying. That's pretty much it. So basically, this reality, miracles are a function of identity. Yeah, because your authority is based on who you are, I guess. In that structure of authority, your identity places you somewhere, you know? So I would say, uh, for us Christians, so this is why we have to know God's word, because the more you get to know God's word is the more you get to know him, and the more you get to know him, the more you get to know his thoughts about you. And the more you get to know his thoughts about you, those are the reality of what you are. So it means anybody who has the fullness of God's mind thinks and operates like Jesus. Remember, he said, uh, those who believe will do greater things than these, like his miracles and stuff like that. I always tell a friend of mine, I always say, I believe Jesus came to he came to show us what we can do. He came to show us what we should do. Yeah. You know? Yeah. He came to He came to show us what we can do, what we should do. And now you'll find we all live our own unique flavors of life. So it means within that path that you have been assigned, that has been assigned to you, you have to find your expression of Jesus. Not all of us have to be crucified, but all of us have to live, that hard. Yes. All of us who believe in Jesus have to live that hard. And now, as I'm learning more, going beyond the Bible, I'm realizing it's making sense how Jesus behaved, how he spoke, why he did the things he did, why he said the things he said. And I'm realizing what's keeping us from stepping into our potential as disciples of God is information. And now this is not to say that the Bible is not enough. Trust me, the Bible is more than enough. In fact, now, having this new information, looking back, I'm realizing what I wasn't doing. Yeah. It's crazy. So it's like the more you know, what you know is going to influence what you do. You are the culmination of what you believe. The more you know about God, the more you have to believe about him. And that will help you, because in life, doubt comes in the form of witty arguments in our heads. Yes. Those anxieties we have, that's doubt. Because an anxiety is basically an anxiety is an unrealized, undesired outcome. Yes, that's what an anxiety is. Unrealized, undesired outcome. So basically, in life you have there's what you think is possible, there's what you know, and then there's what you think is possible, then there's what you believe is possible, and then there's what you don't want to happen. You know, these four things. When I was telling somebody else it was three things, now it's four. So it's like, so doubt is the thing you don't want. So basically, I was talking to a friend, and we were talking about, the whole COVID thing. And then, she was telling me, she's been scared, she's been worried about that. So basically, I was telling her, this same thingy. I was like, because she was saying she was now worried, about, her grandmother, her mom, her family and stuff. So it was like, it was very like so many anxieties, you know. So I was like, what you know is that there's a pandemic going on. So that's your knowledge, right? And then now, what you know is also that people are getting it and dying. Now, what you think is possible, because of what you know about COVID, is what you think is possible is that your family, the people you love, could get it and they could die, and that's what you don't want, right? But then now, that information is working with what you know about God. So now it's like God's protection. So now, so it means she's a Christian, she knows God, but she's still scared of these things. And these are valid fears because we're seeing people, dying and stuff like that. These are real things that are happening. But now, inside, you're faced with a decision. You know that God has your solution, God has your protection. He can, He'll protect you from you and the ones you love. But then you also know that this thing is deadly and people are dying and all that stuff. So you're really faced with that decision of which one you believe. Because the one that you believe is the one that's going to tell your body whether to be scared or not, whether to shake or not, that kind of thing. So it's like, and usually now at that level, you start to examine the information. So if you have very little information supporting God's protection, the fear is gonna win. The argument of fear is gonna win, and that's going to be your reality. But if you have more information about God and His protection and all that stuff, in light of the information you have about COVID, it will shine brighter, and the more you have about it, the easier it will be to believe God's protection. And once you choose to believe that in your heart, then you have peace. So it's like, regardless of whether our families are being affected the way we're scared of, this is anxiety. Is you're going through, you're experiencing something that hasn't happened yet. You're experiencing, so you're giving yourself all the effects of the bad stuff that you think might happen. And so you're really getting the worst of it, the worst thing possible, before it even happens. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna stop there. So anyway, this was just, I guess, a heads up to say, yeah, I'm back. But yeah, like it's gonna take a different turn. I mean, yeah, man. Anyway, like I said, it's ideas, and this information's bringing with it, new theories about. But man, some of this information's so cool, so cool. Like, I also read the vision of Isaiah, like when he he went up to heaven and he saw God. He saw Jesus. And then he actually saw Jesus coming down to earth. Yeah, it's so amazing. Like Isaiah saw some stuff. And then I found out he was sawn in half. Like that's how he was killed. He was cut in half. It's so crazy, you know? Yeah, but it's like one of the things that I'm glad I know. Like I never knew. Like the prophets died in crazy ways. There's somebody who was, yeah, one of them was stoned. Somebody was dragged like in the streets. They tied a rope around his whatever until his head fell off or something. I don't know. Yeah, I forgot. But like, it's crazy. It was crazy. Anyway, information out there, man, is so beautiful. So the second season, we're gonna be like dealing with a lot of theories from there. So yeah, man, I hope you guys like it, and yeah, I'm excited to be back. Until the next one, peace out.